Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Huda, coming to you live from Cairo, Egypt. Saqib sent us a question, and he says, we know that every man in paradise would have 70 hur al-ain and at least 2 wives from this world. So if a man married only once in this world, who would he or who would be his second wife in paradise? Would he be given the choice to choose whoever he wants as his second wife? First of all, Brother Saqib, the information that you have mentioned in the beginning, that every man would have 70 maids or hur al-ain in paradise, is not true. This is not authentic. What is authentic is that a martyr who dies on the battlefield in the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal, defending the religion of Islam, will be rewarded with 72 of these hur al-ain, but not the normal individuals. And as for the second part of your question, if he was married once, who would be his second wife? Well, let me ask you this question. If he did not marry at all, who would be his 2 wives? This is something that Muslims should not be occupied by. See, now you're focusing on the details, and as they say, the devil is in the details. We should focus and strive to be part of those who will enter Jannah, rather than focusing on details that Allah did not tell us about, nor did His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such as what would the color of the living room be, and would there be bedrooms for the guests or not. Akhi, this is way far from the actual purpose Allah created you. You have to have the conviction that Allah Azza wa Jal would make you fully satisfied in paradise, and would make women fully satisfied in paradise, and no one would have any grudges, any envy, any hard or bad feelings at all in paradise. So don't focus about these small issues and details. There are gazillions of women who had no husband, who were not married in this universe. And it is Allah's will that they did not get married on earth. So they will have someone who is befitting to them in paradise. Who is that person? Allah Azza wa Jal only knows best. Ambir says, what's the ruling on drinking water on an empty stomach? And I've been getting a lot of emails regarding this issue. And it seems that someone is circulating a hadith that is fabricated, most likely, on the dangers of drinking water on an empty stomach. And there is no such a hadith to my knowledge. So Islam is not taken by hearsay or by any post on the Facebook or a tweet or a WhatsApp post. This is not the source or the sources of Islam. And this is one of the biggest differences between Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah and the rest of the world, that we rely entirely on Quran and on the authentic Sunnah through the understanding of the righteous predecessors of the three favored centuries of Islam, not depending on on visions or dreams, not depending on whims and desires or fabricated hadiths. We have a caller, Muhammad from the Emirates.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Muhammad.
Sheikh Asim, I had three questions actually.
Yes, Akhi.
One is regarding khutbah, that's Friday sermon.
Okay.
Nowadays, generally I don't understand Arabic much. Now in Dubai, what's happening is the government is putting the translation of khutbah on the website here. So I can open up the khutbah during this, when the sermon is going on, and I can read it and while the imam is doing the sermon. Is that permissible? Can I read it or I cannot? That's the first question, while the sermon is going on.
Okay.
So my second question is, when I go for Jama'ah, congregational prayer in Masjid here, and sometimes what happens is I join a bit late, and in the last tashahhud, I continue praying even after the tashahhud. Sometimes it happens because the imam sits for a long time here, so I continue praying the salawat also. I forget that here. Sometimes I want to stop, but I forget that here. So do I have to do sajda suhoor for that? For praying the salawat after the tashahhud.
Okay, third question.
And the third question is regarding witr. Sometimes I pray witr after I get up. And nowadays, because I get up a bit late in the winter, it's almost Fajr, just before Fajr. So when I get up for witr here, and the adhan for Fajr is called here. So should I pray three or should I pray 4? What's the ruling on that? Can you please guide me on that, please?
Okay, so when you're praying witr, what was your intention? To pray 1 rak'ah or 3 rak'ahs?
My intention generally is I pray 3 rak'ahs.
Okay.
3 rak'ahs. So should I pray 3? Should I pray 4?
Okay.
I don't know. I never pray 3, but I wanted to have a confirmation on that.
I will answer you, inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh.
Barakallah feek, Muhammad. Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Okay, Brother Muhammad asks a question about Friday khutbah. And in certain countries, they post the khutbah of the Friday on their website. That is the website of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs. So he says that what is the ruling if I print the khutbah and while the imam is reciting his khutbah in Arabic, because I do not know Arabic, I read it from the paper. This is not permissible. Why is it not permissible? Because essentially you have to listen to the imam and you have to pay attention to it. Even if you do not understand, there are others around you who may understand, and by engaging yourself in any kind of activities, you will be distracting them. So what is best for you to do is that you read it home and come to the masjid and just attentively, that is, listen to what the imam has to say and get it over with. And whether this is a good idea to post the khutbah or not, this is questionable. I believe personally that this is not a good idea because it takes the spirit of Friday sermon. When people know what the guy is going to talk about, so why do we come? Let's have a CD or a DVD and just watch it home and pray 2 rak'ahs home if you have to. They have to be listening, and they have to be giving their hearts and bodies to the imam when he is giving the khutbah, and setting a title for it or forcing the people to say a particular khutbah. This defies the purpose of khutbah al-Jum'ah, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. His second question is related to a common mistake. When people miss a number of rak'ahs of a prayer and then they join the imam, while the imam is in the final setting, he's sitting in the final tashahhud, They think because it's not their final rak'ah that they should not exceed التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات. When they come to أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد محمد عبده ورسوله, they should stop. And this is wrong. Nobody says that you have to stop or it is even recommended to stop. On the contrary, during prayer, you should not have a moment of not listening and at the same time not saying anything. So you just sit there idle, thinking of your grocery list or what you're about to do after salat. No, there's nothing like that. So if you miss a rak'ah or more and the imam is in the final tashahhud, it is recommended for you to say the whole 9 yards. That is at-tahiyyat, and also offer the salawat al-Ibrahimiyya, and also seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal from the last 4 things that we usually say, and make dua as much as you wish until the imam offers salam. Once he offers salam, you stand up and continue your prayer as usual. Brother Muhammad from the Emirates, last question was regarding the issue of a person praying witr or night prayer, and then the adhan is called. So basically speaking, we know that night prayer ceases and stops when the adhan is given. But if a person engaged in prayer and the adhan was called, what should he do? Should he stop praying? Because the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, if you are afraid that Fajr will be due, then offer 1 rak'ah. Which means that after Fajr there is no witr. You have to stop. So what should I do? Should I stop or should I continue? Well, this is an issue of ijtihad. There is nothing specific on it from the Quran or from the Sunnah. So if you, for example, are in the first rak'ah and the adhan is called, it seems to me that you may make this rak'ah 1 witr rak'ah. So what about if I already prayed 1 rak'ah, Shaykh, and now I'm in the second rak'ah, and the adhan is called, continue your second rak'ah and finish your prayer, and that is it. So continue and finish whatever is possible for you. If you did not pray witr and you are in the first rak'ah, change your intention for it to be witr and only pray 1 rak'ah. If you are, you have prayed 1 rak'ah already and you are in the second, then finish your second rak'ah and consider this to be 2 units, and the witr you can make it up after the sun rises, and Allah knows best. No Sad says, Assalamu alaikum, is it allowed to receive Christmas cake from Christians? Now, this is an issue of dispute among scholars. What is taken for granted is that it is not permissible for a Muslim to celebrate non-Islamic feasts or Eids, such as Christmas, New Year, Halloween, Easter, Thanksgiving, etc. These are festivals, these are feasts specifically for the disbelievers. And Muslims have their own identity. Muslims have their own religion. The Prophet came, alayhi salatu wasalam, to Medina, and he found that the people of Medina, the natives, were celebrating a day. And they're playing and they were joyful in it. So he said, what is this? So the companions told him that this is a custom of the people of Medina. This is a celebration. They mark this day every year and they play and have a good time. So the Prophet told them, alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah had replaced all such days with 2 days per year or in a year. That is Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. The Eid of Fitr, which comes after Ramadan, and Eid al-Adha, which is on the 10th of the last month of the year, the month of Dhul Hijjah. Therefore, we cannot celebrate any other day. Now, having said that, we all agree that we cannot celebrate, we cannot congratulate them with their Christmas, etc., saying Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. What is the ruling on eating? if they give us a gift, I'm not celebrating, I'm not with them, but they come and knock on my door, or they come to my office and bring me a piece of cake, whether it's for a birthday or for Christmas or for any other celebration. The ingredients of the food is okay, it's halal. So can I accept it? The answer is no problem at all. You can accept this gift without any problem and eat it. We have a caller. Who? Oh, Sister Zainab from Nigeria.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum, ya Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have two questions for you, please.
Yes.
My first question is regarding the wearing of the wig. Is it permissible?
Okay.
You don't have to attach it to your hair. You just have to wear it like a cap.
Okay.
And my second question is from a sister that the nursing period of mothers is 2 years, 2 consecutive years. Does it include the 9 months of pregnancy, or is just breastfeeding for 2 years?
So you're referring to the ayah that the breastfeeding.
That says that the nursing period is 2 years.
Okay.
My question is it does it include the 9 months of pregnancy, or it's just the breastfeeding for 2 years?
Okay, I will answer your questions, inshallah.
Thank you.
Sister Zainab from Nigeria is asking about the ruling on wearing a wig. And a wig is something that has hair on it. It's like a hat. You know, everybody knows what a wig is. So what is the ruling on wearing a wig? It is not permissible for a Muslim woman, let alone a Muslim man, of course this is by default, to wear a wig. And the scholars said that the Prophet ﷺ's authentic hadith, narrated by Abdullah bin Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Prophet has cursed those who make hair extensions and those who wear hair extensions. So hairdressers should fear Allah Azza wa Jal, because this is one of the professions that may lead them to hell if they do not fear Allah Azza wa Jal and be careful in what they do through learning the Quran and the Sunnah and knowing what is right and what is wrong. So hair extensions are prohibited because there is deception and there is changing of Allah's creation, though temporary, but the deception factor is there. You're cheating people. You're claiming that you have something you do not have. Now, wearing a wig is even worse because an extension is part of the hair, but now you're wearing the whole thing. Except, scholars made an exception. And they said that if a person loses the hair completely, for example, a woman undergoes chemotherapy and she becomes bald. So now wearing a wig would be changing a defect and restoring what Allah Azza wa Jal had created a human being at. Therefore, there is nothing wrong in wearing a wig for such a person. But a person who loses some of his hair and would like to look more beautiful by wearing a wig, this is not permissible. Brother Muhammad from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm fine, Jazakallah khair for asking.
Alhamdulillah, Shaykh, I have two questions.
Okay.
Continuation to your previous answer question, Shaykh. Is it allowed that the dental, the implants allowed as a crown teeth in the area? And the second question is,
I didn't get the first question, Muhammad. What are you asking?
The dental implants. The dental implants.
Dental implants.
Yeah, is that allowed in Islam?
So like the crown, etc.
Yes. Crown, gold teeth, etc. like that.
Okay.
And the second question, Shaykh, I'm actually from UK. My question is, there is only conventional mortgage, but some of the areas they started the Islamic mortgage. But some of the sheikhs say, okay, Islamic mortgage also not halal. I am a little bit confused, the term Islamic and but some sheikhs say no, this is absolutely halal and it follows the Saudi, the system of mortgage. So can you please explain that which is correct? Can I go ahead for that?
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you, sir. That's it.
You're welcome, akhi. Barakallah fikum. Sister Zainab's second question was regarding the period of 2 years. mentioned in the Quran, and we've answered this question I think last week, similar to it, and the mentioning of 30 months, which is 2 years and 6 months. So she's asking, the 2 years mentioned in the Quran, is it referring to only suckling and breastfeeding, or is it referring also to the 9 months of pregnancy? The answer is no. It is in reference to the 2 years of suckling. And why do we say this? Because in the hadith, it explains it. And the Prophet ﷺ explained that to us, that any suckling after the second year, after a child completes 2 years, does not affect. So in order for the suckling to take the ruling of brotherhood between the children who suckle from the same mother, it has to be 5 meals, and it has to be within the 2 years. And this is similar to what is mentioned in the ayah. As for the 30 months, this is both pregnancy and suckling. And this is why some of the tabi'een gave a judgment in the presence of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, acknowledged that, and he liked it when he said that the least amount of pregnancy is 6 months. A woman cannot give birth to a child before conceiving that child for 6 months, from these two ayahs, combining these two ayahs together, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Brother Muhammad from Saudi Arabia, he says, what's the ruling on implants, or wearing a crown, or fixing and mending the teeth by having a filling, by having a bridge, etc.? The answer is these are all permissible because of the necessity. There's no change of Allah's creation, because you are fixing an illness, you are fixing a defect, a person who has cavities and he fills it. There's nothing wrong in that. A person who has a problem with his tooth and he has to put a crown on top of that, this is permissible. A person who loses a tooth and makes a bridge, this is permissible. What is not permissible in Islam regarding dental work is when a woman specifically files between her teeth. And this used to be in the past a sign of beauty. When the front teeth, there is a gap between them. So the Prophet cursed those who do it, and the dentists who do this for their patients. But if it is to restore what Allah has created, or to remove a defect, there's nothing wrong in that at all, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Brother Muhammad's second question was about the Islamic mortgage. And he's saying that in the UK, they say that there is nowadays Islamic mortgage, and it follows the Saudi model, and I do not know of such a model because I'm from Saudi Arabia and I don't know about this kind of model. Any loan that has interest attached to it, it is a riba based loan, an interest-based loan, regardless of the label they give. So nowadays people abuse the term or the terminology of Islamic. So you have Islamic banking, good for you. They have Islamic architecture. They have now Islamic arts. Later on you will have Islamic music, like some of the nasheed artists nowadays talk about Allah, talk about the Prophet ﷺ, and you hear music. I've seen a video clip of a so-called nasheed artist claiming to be Islamic, and the guy is playing on the piano and doing the violin and all this stuff. Next thing you find him on The Voice. What is this? This is un-Islamic, and putting the terminology Islamic doesn't make it Islamic. Maybe tomorrow they will say we will have Islamic belly dancing, a'udhu billah. So don't be deceived by names and terminologies. Look into the core of the issue to know whether this is halal or not. Now, Islamic mortgage, where you go to a bank and he buys you something, this is not Islamic. The bank is not sharing any risk. The bank is not your partner. The bank does not possess the house initially or the property. Rather, he takes all the necessary documents and pledges from your side, and then he goes and purchases the property to sell it to you. So actually, he bought something or he sold something to you and made you sign the contracts which he does not possess or own. And definitely, as Hakim ibn Hazam said, may Allah be pleased with him, he said that the Prophet ﷺ prohibited us from selling what we do not possess. So how would the Islamic mortgage be accepted? I think they have invented something new in the Islamic banking called diminishing partnership or ownership. And this is when an individual has two hats, has a hat of an owner and another hat of a tenant. So I see this property, very beautiful, costs, let's say, £100,000, for example. So I approach the bank and I tell them, I would like to buy this property through diminishing partnership or ownership. I'm willing to give 10% of the cost and the bank provides with the 90%. So now we are both partners in owning the real estate or the house. Now I put on my second hat, which is a tenant. And I agree with the bank that I will be renting, I will be leasing the house for 3 years, for example, with the amount of such and such. And a bank agrees for that, and we sign the contract. So now I'm a tenant, and whatever I pay for rent, the bank takes it all. 90% his share, 10% my share, in exchange for a percentage of the ownership of the bank. Plus, maybe I may pay something extra on that rent. So after 3 years, the contract states that we renegotiate the rent again. But after the 3 years are finished, now I'm an owner of 15% or 20% over my 10, for example, or whatever percentage that is. And the ownership of the bank diminishes. And we go on until the property is totally mine. Whatever happens in between, we are partners. So the maintenance is paid of the house by the owner, the bank and myself, with the same percentage, not by the tenant. And if anything were to happen to the property, it's been paid for by the owners, not the tenant, and so on. So there are so many complicated things, but I hope this makes it clear. I think we have a short break, so stay tuned. Inshallah, we'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back. Brother Waqqas is asking about the ruling on what is being circulated nowadays in the social media, where a message asks the whole world to pray 2 rak'ah at the same minute, at the same time globally, and to make dua. And they're asking people to match time zones so that they would all be praying at the same time. And he's asking, what's the ruling on this? So whether it is, let's make dua for Aleppo, or let's take this moment at a particular giving time, GMT, that we offer salutation to the Prophet ﷺ, or that we pray 2 rak'ahs with the intention of doing so and so. This is a clear innovation. This is fabricating something into the deen. And I'll give you an example. What is the ruling in praying in congregation, everyone would say that this is a fard. This is obligatory in fard prayers for those who can hear the adhan and they are male and capable of attending. He said, okay, let's go to another hadith. The prayer of an individual with another person is better than praying alone. Would you agree? He said, yes, this is authentic hadith. Okay, so what is the ruling if a person comes into the masjid for Fajr prayer and joins 5 or 6 in the masjid to pray the sunnah that precedes Fajr, the 2 rak'ah, Raghibat al-Fajr, in a congregation? He said, no, this is bid'ah. I said, alhamdulillah. Why do you say it's bid'ah? Because the Prophet didn't do it, alayhi salam. Though I brought you evidences stating that this is okay in a sense, but because the Prophet didn't do it, neither his companions, may Allah be pleased with them, and it shows you that even if it may seem to have origin, but it doesn't. Likewise, when it comes to global dua, or global prayer, or global seeking forgiveness from Allah, or sending the message to 10 of your acquaintances and you will see the return. All of this is an innovation. We have a caller, Muhammad from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I have 2 questions.
Yes.
First one is, the person is attending, a person is coming to the prayer late. So he is praying, after Imam complete the prayer, he is praying his remaining rakats. But
okay.
After that, somebody is entering the masjid for the prayer, and he found no one is around with him to join the prayer. So the person coming late, he joined to the guy who is praying his remaining rakat, as he considering him as an imam. Is it permissible to pray like that?
Okay, second question.
Second question, the sitting rule in the tashahhud position, and atayat during we are reciting atayat, is that different from 4 rakat prayer and 2 rakat prayer?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, Sheikh. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, akhi. I will answer you, inshallah. Muhammad from Saudi Arabia says that when a person misses a rak'ah or 2 with the imam, and after the imam concludes his prayer, the person stands up to complete what was missing, but finds that there is a man standing next to him who did not pray at all with the congregation, and taps him on the shoulder or says in a low voice, "You are my imam," and says Allahu Akbar and stands beside you. What should I do? First of all, don't panic. The difference of intention between the imam and the ma'mum has no effect, inshallah, on the validity of both of their prayer. And this comes from the hadith of Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, where the Prophet once, alayhi salatu wasalam, started to pray night prayer. So he was praying alone. His intention was to pray alone. Ibn Abbas came and stood next to the Prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam. So the Prophet led Ibn Abbas in prayer, which means that changing from an individual to an imam has no problem. There's no issue in that. You can do that. So if you do this, complete your normal prayer as usual. So if you missed 2 rak'ahs, you're going to pray now 2 rak'ahs, so you can complete your 4 rak'ahs of dhuhr or asr or whatever. But you may raise your voice when you say Allahu Akbar or Sami Allahu liman hamida, because now you are an imam, and most likely in a few moments you probably would see him being pulled back by another person who came late, and then you will become an imam of a number of people. And there is nothing wrong in this cascading, because the principle is there from the sunnah. What do I mean by cascading? So let's assume you finish your prayer and the brother who came and made you your imam, made you his imam, stood up to continue the last rak'ah or the last 2 rak'ahs, whatever he missed. And another person comes and makes him as an imam. And he finishes, and a third and a fourth person, it keeps on happening in a chain. There's nothing wrong in that, and there's no problem, inshallah. Um, okay, we have Muhammad also from Saudi. So this is the fourth Muhammad. Okay, Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have got a couple of questions.
Okay, mute your television, please.
First of all, at the time of Akhamat, when Mauzan is saying Akhama, what shall we do? We shall repeat the Akhama as we repeat the Azan?
Okay. Second question.
People are coming from nowadays for Umrah, performing Umrah from various countries, and they perform their Umrah. Can they perform any more Umrah for themselves or for other people, deceased people?
Okay, can you mute your television, please, Muhammad, and listen to me from the phone?
Okay.
Third question.
Okay. Third question about whenever we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah after wudu or some other time, shall we have to raise our index finger?
Okay.
I have seen some people doing it.
Okay. Fourth question.
Can we make direct sajda and make dua? Because some of the people are doing it.
Okay.
So it is correct way, or which one is the correct one?
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay, I will answer you, Brother Muhammad, inshallah.
Okay.
Okay, Brother Muhammad from Saudi Arabia, number 3, that is, he says, when we sit for tashahhud, is it the same way we sit, or is it different when it's 2 rak'ahs or 3 rak'ahs? The most authentic opinion that there is a difference between a 2 rak'ah prayer or a prayer that is more than 2 rak'ahs. And in fiqh, this is known as al-iftirash and at-tawarruk. These are 2 different ways of sitting. Iftirash is what we usually sit between the 2 sajdas, for example. And that is when we sit on our left foot, erecting the right foot. This is called iftirash. Why am I calling it iftirash? Because I am taking my left foot as a mattress to sit on. This is done when you are praying Fajr or Sunnah prayers of 2 units, and when you are sitting between the 2 prostrations. No problem in that. The second way of sitting in prayer is when the prayer has 2 tashahhud, as in Maghrib, first and second tashahhud, or as in the 4-unit prayer such as Dhuhr, Asr, and Isha. I would sit iftirash in the whole of the prayer until I come to the last rak'ah. When I sit for a tashahhud, the last tashahhud, I use what is known as at-tawarruk. And at-tawarruk is to sit on your left buttock, having your left foot coming underneath your right leg. So you will be a little bit tilted to the left when you're sitting this way, but it is a way that is more relaxed than al-iftirash. And this was the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam. You do not sit on your left foot because your left foot is now underneath your right leg, which the right leg also is erected, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Now, Muhammad, number 4, from Saudi Arabia, he says, what should we say when the mu'adhin, when the caller for prayer says, قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ? Now we know that the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, in regards to the adhan, whenever you hear the adhan, meaning the mu'adhin calling for the call for prayer, you should say exactly as he says. So when he says Allahu Akbar 4 times, we say Allahu Akbar 4 times. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah twice, we say the same. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, we say the same. Hayya ala salat twice, we say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Hayya ala al-falah twice, we say also twice La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. If it's Fajr, he says, As-salatu khayrun min al-nawm. We repeat this like he says twice. And then he says, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. We say it. La ilaha illallah, and we say it. This is the adhan. So we have no problem. We have a crystal clear hadith showing us what to say. The Prophet told us, no problem. The issue is with the iqamah. Now the adhan is to notify people that the time of prayer is due. The iqamah is to notify people that now the prayer is taking place. So this happens when the imam is present, and we would like to inform the congregation that the prayer is to begin now. So the mu'adhin says, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Hayya ala salati, Hayya ala falah, qam salat, qam salat, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. So what should we say? The most authentic opinion is that you do not say anything. I don't repeat after him. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Hayya ala salat. I do not say anything. No, you do not say anything. Because the hadith came only to repeat after the mu'adhin when he gives the adhan. But when he gives the iqamah, we don't have any evidence to repeat after him. And therefore, I hope this answers your first question, Brother Muhammad. His second question says that, what is the ruling on performing more than one umrah for a person who's coming from overseas or from Riyadh or from anywhere else other than Mecca? The Prophet ﷺ and his companions had never performed more than one umrah whenever they took a umrah. So this is the doing of the Prophet ﷺ. This is the doing of the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, except for Mother Aisha. And the Prophet ﷺ told her that you don't have to do another umrah. She said, no, I came to Hajj. I was in the state of Qiran. And as we know, Qiran has a umrah embedded in it. But because she was in the state of menses, she did not perform tawaf and tawaf al-qudum and sa'i al-hajj in the beginning. So she felt there was something missing. So she requested permission from the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ told her, you don't have to. Your hajj was already embedded with a umrah. She said, but I want to. If it was not permissible, the Prophet ﷺ would not have allowed her. But he instructed Abdul Rahman, her brother, to take her and make their ihram from At-Tan'im, which is the closest area to Al-Haram, known now as Masjid Aisha, and she went and took Umrah. So if you're asking about what is best, I would tell you only make your own Umrah. If you ask me what is permissible, I would say it is permissible for you to make more than one Umrah, because the Prophet ﷺ did not give us a clear directive that it is prohibited. On the contrary, he said, between a Umrah and a Umrah, it's an expiation to what's between them from the minor sins, as long as you avoid major sins. Now, some people come from overseas, and it is the only chance for them to come, and maybe they won't be able to come in 6 or 7, maybe 10 or never years. So they say, I have to, or I would like to make Umrah for my father, for my mother. Would that be permissible? The answer is, it is permissible, inshaAllah, due to your case. Now, the third question, and we have to wrap this up quickly, inshaAllah. He's saying, what's the ruling on raising the finger after making wudu? A lot of people, when they make wudu, they say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And I've seen people, while praying, whenever Allah's name is mentioned by the Imam, he does this. So what is this? Are you turning right? Or what are you doing? He says, no, we raise the index finger whenever we mention the name of Allah. This is an innovation. There's nothing to support this. The only time that the Prophet ﷺ, other than the prayer, would raise his finger when he is making dua on the khutbatul Jum'ah. So, Allahumma ghfir lil muslimeen wal muslimat, Allahumma farrij an ikhwanina al karb, etc. He would raise, not doing this, but rather raising the finger. And this is for the khatib of the Jum'ah. For you, when making the wudu, no, this is not. And finally, what is the ruling on making sujood separately from the prayer just for the sake of dua? This is a clear innovation. Why, Shaykh? Didn't the Prophet say, alayhi salatu wasalam, to a companion who said to him, make me with you on the day of judgment? The Prophet said to him, alayhi salatu wasalam, give me support by offering a lot of sujood? The answer is yes, the hadith is authentic. But the Prophet was referring to salat, offering a lot of salat, and we may describe something by a unit. So the Prophet is telling him to offer a lot of salat, which includes sujood, not to perform sujood alone. You cannot perform sujood alone without a prayer unless it is the sujood of gratitude or the sujood of reciting the Quran, tilawah. But as we see a lot of the people after Fajr prayer, for example, and the salat is over, the congregation is over, after making few adhkar, all of a sudden the guy falls prostrating. Akhi, what's wrong with you? Do you have a heart attack? Are you okay? And after he finishes, no, I'm just used to doing this sujood, thanking Allah, asking for a few things because I'm closer to Allah when I'm in the sujood. This is an innovation and you are sinful for doing it, because not the Prophet ﷺ only who did not do it, nor the companions, nor the tabi'een, and none of the scholars of Islam, and hence it is an innovation. It seems that we are out of time, so until we meet you inshallah next week, that is Saturday, from Saudi Arabia, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.